Welcome to the WADcast, the podcast where we chat with writers, actors, directors to get an inside look into the creative processes and the industry as a whole. I'm your host, Josh, and joining me today is my co host and good friend, Brandon. Say hello, Brandon.
Hey, happy Friday, everybody.
Now, listeners, you may not know this, but Brandon here once tried to audition for a role in a Shakespearean play without realizing it was a musical. Needless to say, it didn't go too well for him. But hey, at least he's got a good singing voice, right? Anyway, on a serious note, we're thrilled to be bringing you the WADcast, where we'll be talking to some of the most creative and talented people in the industry. Whether you're a writer looking for inspiration, an actor trying to break into the business, or a director looking for some tips on how to bring your vision to life, this is the podcast for you. So sit back, relax, and get ready to hear from some of the best and brightest in the world of writing, acting, and directing. Thanks for tuning in, and let's get started.
Did you write a script tonight?
Nope. I let AI write it.
Are you sure? Oh my God. You're so stupid. You're so stupid. I mean, I did audition for a Shakespearean play, but that was like years ago.
Huh, that was
And if it
How did
was
the
a
AI
musical,
know?
if it was a musical, I would have gone even harder for the audition. Especially if it was a musical like in what was it, Hot Fuzz?
I thought you were going to say Hamlet 2.
No, Hot Fuzz.
Rock
know.
me, rock me, rock me, sexy Jesus.
Oh God.
And that's a Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh God.
I don't remember how
that
Rock
is.
Me, Sexy Jesus
No,
goes.
No, rock me, sexy Jesus. Like, rock me, since Jesus. You died for our sins. You gotta believe us. Like, yeah, it's. I don't ever want to see that movie again.
It's one of those, you saw it. It's good enough.
That's it. It's like basketball. Basketball is funny, but it's like only funny so many times. You gotta eventually just like
wrong.
Stop. Right. Absolutely.
I saw it
right.
8 times in theaters. I mean, I didn't buy a single ticket, but
I was going to say, please, somebody just walked in and walked out.
I walked in and
Where did you work
watched
there?
it 8 times. No,
Okay.
I had a movie theater that was maybe a mile down the road. So I would go almost every day during the summer and just go to all the movies over and over again. Except for basketball, I was like, run it back. And they're like, are you even supposed to be in here? You're not 17. It's like, forget that. Run it back.
Yeah, I got kicked out of Super Troopers. I was old enough, but me and my buddy Rick had his girlfriend at the time, Missy, girl that I went to high school with. She decided she wanted to go with us to go see this movie, so we snuck her in with us. Paid for another movie, and we walked into, Super Troopers. They didn't play back then with people that snuck into theaters. Like they hunted you down. I think actually now, don't they do like head counts now or something like that? Like, they come out there with a clipboard and just eyeballing everyone in the theater. They like just check off heads and whatnot.
No, they don't care.
They do out here.
They're just like, don't make it obvious.
Yeah. Don't sit there and stare at the guy while he's doing it, or don't break out like a Little Caesar's pizza from inside your jacket, and have scented candles and wine glasses and
At least take a little bit of effort to make it look like the stuff from the concessions.
Anyway, but it's been an interesting week with a lot of things that have been going on. Did you want to jump into some of your talking points, or did you want me to just go ahead and get the one that's been irking me out the way?
No. By all means, you go ahead. I gotta get the show shared on our WADco Facebook.
Okay. So I've had conversations with a few people, my personal life, professional life, and even like I was on set the other day, and we had this conversation. and it was a conversation about the casting for movies, and in particular, out here in California, you have a very, very vast Hawaiian population. You have a lot of people that actually do live out here in other parts of, like, the West Coast, that are native to Hawaii. I have one such person that I work with, and I was asking him a question because, Sydney, God, I cannot think of her last name. Do you have that available?
Prescott.
That is the whitest white bitch name in the world. No, this is the Hawaiian girl that got cast as Nani. Um,
Lilo and Stitch live action movie. Let's see. Research is afoot.
um, Sydney starts with an A. I know that much. I can't think. I can't think of it.
Wow,
But
what is this? Google has been awful with their results. Uh, as of late, because it's like Tia Carrera.
Okay.
Like, no, I want the live action cast.
Okay, so Sydney Agadong, that's who it is. Sydney Agadong was cast as Nani, and like, we've had this conversation with casting before, and, like, granted, well, we don't have a whole lot to really be able to say because we are not of that culture. That's the thing. One thing I can say is that I was actually shocked by the blowback that this poor girl's received this whole past week, since they announced her casting. Um, you and I we've spoken about race swapping and color swapping of characters in movies, right? We've had those conversations on the show a few times. Now, you and I have always had the same stance where if it's not based on a real person, we don't care. And if it's based on a real person, but it's like more like an artistic viewpoint, like if they're taking like some kind of like stance and they want to make like some kind of like, I don't know, creative direction with it, like with Hamilton, right? We get that too. But there were a lot of people that were like, when Aladdin came out, Naomi Scott playing Jasmine. She has some, and she is part Indian, but she's also of, she's biracial. She's not like 100%, like, it's still like lighter skin, but people were celebrating her as Jasmine. A lot of people will even say that she was the best part of the whole movie. She was the strongest character in the movie, like the best modified version from the original cartoon. Jasmine was given so much more meat in the story, and she was made more of a, not like a damsel in distress. Then you had Halle Bailey getting cast as the Little Mermaid. No one cared. Like, and I didn't care. We both said that we're excited to see what she does with this. And then when it came to Snow White, we do have the live action Snow White, but it is not going to be it's not going to be based in the same way that was back in the original Disney movie. It's going to be more of a, I believe, like, they're actually taking away the Seven Dwarfs still, if I'm not mistaken. Have you heard any updates on that one? Like, are they still, the Seven Dwarfs are like, they're out, right? They're done.
No, I haven't heard anything about it in a while.
Okay.
Snow White.
Either way, but Rachel Zegler, she is of Hispanic descent. So no one batted an eye with that one. Everyone's like celebrating the diverse casting that Disney's doing with these live action movies, with their adaptations. And I don't say everybody, but it's gotten them some attention. And then you cast Sydney Agadong as Nani. you are casting a character that is of Hawaiian descent as a Hawaiian character with, Hawaiian ancestry, raised in that culture, understands the culture very fluently. And this girl has been getting so much backlash because she's too light, because Nani was drawn as being darker skinned um, in Lilo and Stitch. And one thing I've heard a lot of is that she's not right because she's very Eurocentric, meaning she's more white passing, so she's not going to be a good Nani because she doesn't look, you know, dark enough.
And that also includes distinguishing facial structure features, right?
I guess, but it does have like, yeah, she's not like dark complexion as Hawaiians, but she is Hawaiian. She can't really help her genetics, but
No,
she still
I'm just
doesn't
saying
have like
when
the
it
pointy
comes to,
nose like what you and I have.
I was going to say, like European features, someone could have like a Romanesque nose or an Irish
Oh
chin.
yeah, she looks like a Pacific Islander. She doesn't look like she's got Eurocentric features. She just looks like she's not as dark complexion as people would expect her to be to play the role of Nani.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt really bad. Like, like I said earlier, like I I only have so much I can really get into with this, according to most people in society. But you know what I really think about modern society and the limitations on me having an opinion. You've known me on, I don't think, from expressing my opinions. Um, so I will say this. I will come with this with a disclaimer. Um, for those of you who listen to our show, who may be offended by what I'm about to say, but listen, if you're listening to the show, chances are I probably offended you multiple times. Um, but this will probably be one of the most offensive things I'll ever say on the show to a lot of people. And it's not even anything vulgar. The fact that this girl is pretty much being told by people all over the internet that she is not dark complexion enough to perform as Nani pretty much equates to me as it's okay to swap these other characters into these other ethnicities, but even though you have this specific ethnicity of a character who is cast and portrayed by this specific exact same ethnicity of an actress with the exact same culture, the exact same upbringing, but she's just not dark enough to portray the character because that's not how she was shown in the movie. But you're going to celebrate the Little Mermaid and Snow White and Jasmine, who is darker skinned, but being played by a much lighter skinned person, but celebrating her. Guys, it's disgusting. It's you're practically saying that this girl cannot celebrate her heritage and bring this heritage to the big screen. And that is just absolute bullshit on every single level possible. So this is actually one of the few times you'll actually hear me get very serious on the show about an issue. Now, I hope that I hope that she changes everyone's minds. I hope that she comes on, plays Nani, and just blows it away, and leaves everyone just completely, flabbergasted. But I don't know. I just I think it's absolutely to disparage someone, refuse them their culture because they're not dark enough to celebrate it on screen, or they're not the same complexion as the character that they're being drawn as. So,
Well, there can be
yes,
only one response to this.
was good for the gander, right?
No, Brandon, you've been released, fired. Then you realize he can hire himself back.
Like I said, that's why I had to come with a disclaimer on that one. Like my goal is not to offend anyone. It's just like it's one of those deals where you and I spoke about this earlier today, and I just want to move on from this point because I didn't want to linger on this point too long. So I'll move on from it. But it's like it's one of those deals where that's why I had to say the disclaimer, because my goal is not to offend people. My goal is to say flat out that I cannot imagine what this girl, what this has done to this poor girl who was just probably excited at first to be cast as this character. But there's
or just
there's
cast.
no bigger, just cast, yeah, and there's no bigger bully than the internet. So you know, hopefully she just stays away from it for the next, I don't know, well, say like 2 to 3 years.
So
I mean, hell, look at the guy who played Aladdin. That guy did a great job, and he can't get a job after playing Aladdin. He was perfect for the role.
Except the movie wasn't all that great. Here's my thoughts. And since I'm the guy that's supposed to back clean up, I'll put it to you like this: I think anybody and everybody's entitled to whatever opinion they have. It's our right granted to us under the Constitution. We can say it privately, we can say it publicly, we can say pretty much whatever we want. Now, as an official stance, I all I can say is neither one of us, as you mentioned before, are in a position to speak for anybody except ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think a lot more people would be just better off if they remember that for themselves too, instead of either speaking for everybody like them or speaking for everybody different than them, whatever the case may be. Just watch, and I'm not talking to you about this, but to the public at large. You gotta stop, speaking so macro. You're only speaking for you, no matter who you are, unless you're like some sort of official spokesperson. You're just speaking for you. And one of the worst trends in and not just entertainment media, because it runs rampant in entertainment media, is this whole clickbait headline of Group X is outraged over comment from. And it's like, I'm part of Group X. Like, don't apply to me.
Yeah, I've never understood that. I've never understood the whole mass outrage shit that you see in these on like, and so it's always on Facebook. You always see it on Facebook. That's where you always see it. Or if you open up Google Chrome on your phone, or like Google on your phone, you're like a new tab. You'll see all these things. That's like, oh, everyone is outraged over this situation, and you look around. It's just like there's no outrage. There's a guy on TikTok that makes his following based off of absolute bullshit news. I can't think of his name, but
Tucker Carlson.
No, Tucker Carlson. He's gotten famous for spewing bullshit. No, it's I can't bald something. I forget. But either way, so this guy, he just makes these videos about absolutely nothing at all, and he's saying that people are outraged over the actress that they cast to portray Lilo. Absolutely outraged over who they cast as Lilo. I'm like, no. I was trying to think like maybe he's talking about Nani, because I was trying to find something to like bring up for the show tonight. And I want to get like other people's opinions, but it wasn't about Nani. He was showing pictures of the little girl that's playing Lilo, about how everyone's outraged over this, and I'm like, I haven't found a single thing of outrage. People are outraged over everything every week for some reason. It's 2023.
I got one for you.
No, go for
it. This is an actual news story that was told to me, quoted to me from a family member. They said, liberals are outraged that Super Mario Brothers wasn't woke enough.
Yep. Wasn't that like a Newsmax article?
Yeah. It's like,
does this family member ever watch our show?
No,
or listen to it?
Not.
Oh, okay. I guess like it's no. It wasn't everyone. It was Hollywood, right?
Yeah, yeah. Hollywood was
Hollywood is
outraged.
outraged. It's like, well, like Hollywood was outraged because Mario Brothers is not woke enough. And I'm thinking, like, when you told me this, like, you know, the, any idea where Universal Studios is based? Like the production house for Universal Studios, or like Illumination, or it's out here.
They're the
It
ones
is
that
out here.
made it.
It's yeah, it's out here in California. Yeah, it's like as Chris Rock said, like it's all selective outrage. That's what everything is right now. Like this person is like I don't know. It's like you can do this with these characters, and it's okay because they're fictional characters. But once you do it to other characters that are based on real cultures, it's not okay. But it was okay in the past for other. I'm just I don't know. It seems to be very selective. Um, but yeah, it's like as you were putting it, though, it's just like everything is an outrage to somebody. I mean, Taylor Swift stood up for herself. Oh, people are outraged that Taylor Swift spoke up for herself in her music. Like, I don't think anyone's really outraged over that. But it's 2023. Everyone's outraged over everything. There's really not a single day where someone's not pissed off about something.
Am I the only one that's just like chill about these movie things?
Yeah, I just want to go see a movie. Like, I watched Evil Dead Rise today. Like, I just wanted to go see the damn movie. People are outraged that Evil Dead Rise didn't take place in a cabin. This is an article I read. Fans are outraged that has nothing to do with a cabin. Like, how many times do we have to go see some white dude go into a cabin, read a book that's bound in human flesh with a scary face on it that's written in blood?
At least 4.
Like, listen, I'm going to say this to every single, as a white person, ladies and gentlemen of color,
Oh, this is gonna be good.
I am so sorry that my people always get your people killed in horror films, especially when it comes to films where they're reading out of a book of the dead. For some reason, if we find a book that's wrapped in barbed wire, bound in human flesh, written in an ancient Latin text, and inked in blood, you got someone that looks just like me, or just like you, Josh, that has to go clip off the barbed wire, break open the book, and then start reading it, and ignoring all the do not read like writings in the book.
Since when did words ever tell me what to do?
Yeah, it's just like I'm looking at this like it's always white people. Like it's almost the same as like whenever there's like an alien attack on Earth, America's the hero. And like I mean, but it's like in every horror film, and like any horror film like zombie or something like that, is we get everyone killed, buddy.
How about this? Tomorrow's headlines, if anybody actually watched us, would read media company outraged over the portrayal of white people in horror movies.
I need to make a post like that. Like we need to get the WADcast website back up and running. So I could just start writing off the wall articles that are so stupid. Like, we have Danielle who can write her reviews. We have, we can probably get Peter back to write his reviews. You can write your stuff. And I would just write the most off the wall articles that are complete bullshit, completely full of shit, but it's just like some unfounded claim. Like the black community is sick of white people reading from the Book of the Dead. It's an outrage. Stop killing our people. Whatever. But it's like it would just be great. Oh man!
A petition was created to
a petition.
But then you'd actually have to go and create the petition, so it's actually
you know I would, right?
Yeah. You got to cover your bases.
You ever see that episode of South Park with Cartman where he's dressed up as the Coon, the superhero? So he's ripping off Batman, but he's like a raccoon. Have you ever seen that? Okay.
I've seen them all.
When he's like going around, he's like handing out shirts and he's like, "Who is the Coon?" It's like we can do that for this, but it's just like, you know, who
Here's
is
the
this right?
key.
Yeah, it's like we can do this, but we can try to get like articles out there that way. Just oh my god, who's the WADcast? Like we never heard of them. Like that sounds like, you know, sounds very provocative. Just like walking to a bar one night, like just sit down at a bar, like especially when I come to Jacksonville Beach, sit down. It's like, what? Who said the WADcast? What? Nobody. Nope. You've heard about the WADcast? What's the WADcast? Talk to me about it. Just, you know.
Go up to random people. Excuse me, did I just hear you were talking about the WADcast?
Exactly. I think it'd be I think that'd be hysterical.
I've heard good things. What do you think?
What is the WADcast? Exactly. What is the WADcast?
It's the question everybody's asking.
It's so stupid. Actually, here, 1 second. Hey, Samuel. Hey, Samuel.
That's right. Special guest star Samuel L. Jackson.
No, I think I unplugged him.
Oh,
I did. I killed Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh my God! You killed Samuel. You bastard!
I killed Samuel Jackson.
You must.
I gotta wait a little bit for him to wake up here. So I'm gonna see if Samuel L. Jackson knows what the WADcast is.
Well, he's on the show pretty frequently.
I mean, once in a while. Hey, Samuel. He's still waking up. Yeah. Yeah, still waking up. But yeah, it's just like it's, you know. I really need to like run like a billboard space just to make it look like we're a much bigger deal than we are. We can rent them for cheap in New York City, buddy. I was actually looking that up. And I was thinking about getting those pictures that I posted as a joke that I photoshopped into like New York City signs.
Mm-hmm.
And getting those pictures and putting them in New York City's like Times Square for like just like 4 times a day for like a minute each time. It'll cost me $120 each day to do it. But just imagine being a tourist and you're just seeing like me laying there with only a piece of cloth covering my no-no region. You with your open robe and all that stuff. And it's like, WADcast. They're going to think WAD means something else.
Oh, that must be some sort of new gay podcast. And considering our past conversations, it might not be entirely wrong.
No, probably not. But yeah. So what did you have to talk? What did you have to bring to the table? I wanted to move away from the whole. Hey, Samuel. What is the WADcast? Okay, it's been unplugged for too long. Oh, stop. Okay. So yeah, move on from the whole Lilo and Stitch and Disney thing. You actually there's actually been some stuff going on with Disney this past week.
Yeah.
In Florida. So it's like you live there, and I'm not too sure exactly what's going on, but I'll let you.
All right. So
I know it's political. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is not a political podcast at all. Today, you would never know from tonight's episode, but it's actually not. But this actually is directly related to things that have gone on with Disney itself, and Disney being a production house, primarily.
So, and I will approach this from as much of a gender. I was going to say gender neutral. No, from a neutral space as possible.
Shit. No, 1 second. I'm listening to you.
He says he's listening, but he just walked away. Okay. So, Dateline, Florida. The governor has called for all-out war against Disney. Courtroom-wise, that is. Well, you see, what had happened was a bill was put forth and subsequently passed in the House, colloquially uh, locally known, well, not locally, but the common name for it as it's been adopted by the public at large is the Don't Say Gay bill. And that would prevent uh, any kind of instructions from kindergarten through third grade on anything less than heteronormative relationships, uh, more or less. Although in reality, uh, nobody's talking sex ed with these kids pre like fifth grade, I think, at earliest,
Yeah,
because it
I was
was
trying to
already
figure
the
out.
law.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out where all that's coming from because I know a few elementary school teachers are like, we don't teach anything like that.
No, they
I
don't.
think
But
that's.
there's been a narrative going around that the teachers are grooming the children.
Oh, I thought that was more priests, but go ahead.
The track record is there for the church more so
Again,
than
again,
schools.
again, the South Park episode where the priests are like, "What? You've never molested a child?"
So anyway, after and by the way,
Okay, sorry.
just as a little addendum to this, the governor, whom I'm not going to, say by name.
his, his ego is so hurt.
When somebody
Oh,
said, "Would this," because it said specifically kindergarten through third grade, I want to say, and he seemed to get offended when somebody implied, that it was for school children, and he's like, "No, it says specifically kindergarten through third grade. That's what it says." And within the last couple of weeks, they expanded it to kindergarten through 12th grade. So
yep. Young
it's like,
adults.
someone wasn't being honest. How about that? Anyway,
I shouldn't say young adults or kids.
when news of this bill being created came out, Disney did nothing. I mean, a lot of people were very upset. Disney tries very hard to sort of be apolitical. They, donated to everybody because they find that's sort of usually in their best interests. But after their employees spoke up, and if I'm not mistaken, at one point threatened to walk out, cause a massive walkout in their parks. They said, "Okay, fine, we don't like it." And the governor was like, "What?
Yeah,
You
I was reading about.
don't? How dare
I was
you
reading about.
stand up
I was
to
reading about the
me?"
walkout. Well, it was estimated if there was a walkout because it was not just a few employees that were threatening to walk out.
Oh, it was thousands.
It was yeah, and this is worldwide walkouts. Because like I mean, it's these parks are connected. So this is something that like I don't know about like the whole like the Disney in China. Yeah, China. But like you had the other Disney, like Disneyland, Disney World, stuff like that. But Disneyland and Disney World, those employees stateside, they do communicate quite a bit. And Orlando and half the employees that live in Los Angeles County, it is a very, very LGBTQ plus centric area. Both areas.
Mhm.
Orlando is massive, like got a massive like gay and like gay by even with trans population. So is Los Angeles County. They, I was reading something where it spoke about what would happen if they had to close the park due to lack of employment, or lack of employee rather on hand, and it was they would have pretty much it would have been like getting kicked in the nuts hard and like getting dropped to your knees. Like they would have been like really screwed. Because having that many, as they call them, cast members on strike from all departments. Whether it's like the actors in costume or the people at the gates, people in ticketing, or people that are just even working from home, they'd be absolutely screwed.
Yeah. Because remember, it doesn't really matter what day of the year it is. These Disney parks are virtually uh, always filled to capacity at pretty much all times.
Yeah. When I went there, though, when I went there a while back with Danielle, my very first time at Disney Park in since I was 5 years old, it was pouring rain, windy, and it was still packed. Still
You
lots of people.
you pretty much have to make an appointment to go. It's
Yeah, we
not
had to.
really something you can do on a whim anymore.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, we have to make reservations right now. So
So Disney basically just said, through the press, we don't support this legislation, and in fact, we're going to be withdrawing, um, basically donating to all campaigns. They're getting out of it altogether. And again, the governor took umbrage with these things and said, "Okay, we're going to take over uh, your property." So he put together his own hand-picked task force to run the land that is Disney. And Disney, at the 11th hour, found a crazy loophole that actually let them keep control over what happens on the land.
I always love that part.
And then uh, the governor said, well, we'll just find a way to nullify that original agreement altogether. And who knows, maybe I'll build a prison next to Disney World. Maybe I'll make toll roads to Disney World. And again, this isn't me taking sides in this, because honestly, it's, you know, big evil corporation, versus but since Citizens United is a thing and corporations are people, uh, this is like the definition of a violation of the First Amendment, is it not? The government saying, "Oh, I hate you said that, so it's time to take, action as the government."
Yeah, I would say that's pretty much a violation of the First Amendment. But the trick
So
is
that's
getting someone to getting people that are not brainwashed into actually caring about that.
and then being able to, file these suits in Florida, you know, under the employees of the guy that's running the place.
No, Disney is like in this whole battle. Disney is legit the guy that is just sipping. Like if you were to get this into like a personification of two people between DeSantis and the corporation of Disney, it would be DeSantis holding his chest out like with a friend holding his hand back, shouting, "Come at me, bro! Come back! Come at me!" And Disney's just over there, just like leaning against the bar, like, "I could destroy you if I wanted to." like,
And the things the governor says to kind of get people sort of in an uproar, and we're going to make Disney finally pay their fair share of taxes, and Disney just casually throws out, yeah, we probably should, because I guess that $1 billion a year that we pay in Florida taxes is just not enough. And the 80,000 plus people we employ here, just I guess it's not. I guess it's not up to snuff. They're just casually disputing the statements made by the governor's office, by saying tossing out, yeah, we pay a ton, we employ a ton, we own a ton, we offer to, well, not offer, but we've been taking care of all of this land, including stuff that would normally fall under the county or the city's purview. We've been paying for all that. But
yeah,
I guess if you wanna lighten our load, don't know why you would, since we've been paying for our own fire departments and roads and all this stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's like, and I was telling you about this earlier today with it's like that out here with and Anaheim. They had been, to my understanding, they've been fighting with each other for a long time, ever since Disneyland even opened up out here. Disneyland it brings the most money to at least Orange County. And I know transportation in Anaheim is an issue. So Disney had offered to build a monorail system, a more cost-effective and quicker way for people to get around to different parts of Anaheim. The catch is they wanted Anaheim to change the name to Disneyland.
And you have to listen to
and
it.
It was like, oh, no.
On loop.
Oh, Jesus. I would kill myself. Absolutely myself.
Throw yourself
I'm not even I love living. I'm not supposed to at all. I would. Absolutely. Absolutely. I would be like panicking, like with a, I don't know. I would bring a collapsible chair with me just so I could have that panic moment, like just like swing it out the window and try to break it out. Yeah, can't stand that song. But it's funny, like how much Disney contributes to the areas around it or where it's located, and these areas seem to absolutely hate it.
They just allotted a lot of property for affordable housing for the communities in Orlando. Their property that they could be using to build the fifth theme park or whatever. They're like, we're gonna give that to the people for some houses. Those
I got
jerks.
I've got a private message. I've got a private message here from someone that's catching our show. Names, but much like your family member with Newsmax, I was told to make sure that I bring up the liberal acceptance of Disneyland underpaying their staff. Okay, I will address that really quick. This has nothing to do with the WADcast, but I will say this to this family member. If your sole job is working at ticketing for your entire life, and there's only so much of a cap on pay that you make ticketing or greeting guests or stuff like that, I'm not going to sit there and say that you made poor life choices, but you can't get mad because you're only making so much money when you're working for a corporation on the lowest level imaginable as a career. Working your way up is almost impossible these days, but you do make those choices. So the people that are saying Disneyland doesn't pay enough, I don't look at a lot of these jobs as career-driven jobs. If that makes sense. I'm not going to harp on anyone for working. You're working. That's fine. That's great. That's awesome. But if you're only working at like the ticket or a section or the concession stand or whatever for like 20, 30 years at Disney, and you're living in a hotel with like, and I know exactly what this member is talking about. You're living in a hotel like your entire in a one hotel room with you, your wife, and your 4 kids. These are your choices. This is where you have messed up. You can't blame the company for that stuff. Now, Disneyland is known for not paying a whole lot, despite how much money they make because of their employees. Welcome to America. Now, that being the case, moving on.
Hold on, I want to chime in on that. Just to note, I did very specifically say big evil corporation.
Yeah.
No
that's it. No one's saying Disney is. Yeah, no, Disney is a horrific company. I mean, and it goes back to Walt Disney with how he treated his actors and actresses. He pretty much destroyed the. Yeah, well, like the woman that played Snow White, he destroyed her career. He made sure she never had a career outside of Snow White. She could not get work. I mean, he was a horrible person. It was not like in Saving Mr. Banks. He was a horrible person. It wasn't Tom Hanks back there. It was Walt Disney. He was a bastard. So, yeah,
it's the funny thing though. I personally can be upset about 2 things at once, and strangely enough, those two things can be opposing each other. And I can say,
Yep.
well, one is more right than the other, but I hope they all blow up.
Yeah, I do that all the time. It's called being on the fence, looking at both yards. That's what you're doing. It's like, oh, I hate this. I hate this.
I mean, after all,
You
this
both need to go
situation, this situation has made me do something. I told you about this. It made me do something I never ever thought would be possible.
Yeah.
It made me agree
Yeah, I know.
with another guy that used to be president when he
Yeah.
said that why he's questioning the governor's decision about why are you going after Disney? They employ so many people.
Yeah.
They bring so much money to your state, and you're going after them. You're cutting your own revenue stream for spite.
Yeah, I'll say this again. This is not a political podcast at all. You know how much talking politics on here, but this again is directly related to so much of what we love in the industry. This is all behind the scenes. If I hope they make a movie about this someday. I think that'd be great. Hopefully, it's just a better quality movie than what they did for Johnny Depp and Amber Heard's trial that came out like lickety split after the verdict came out.
It'd be great if Universal made the movie.
But who Josh is talking about is he's talking about former President Donald Trump, who has gone on record to say that he's flabbergasted at Governor DeSantis's assassination with Disney. He lost a fight, but he's still swinging and he's still talking smack. While he's bleeding and broken on the concrete, he's talking smack. It's like, dude, at this point, it's just nothing more than a hurt ego. That's all it is. It is a bruised ego that was bruised very much worldwide. DeSantis is known because of this. He's known a world. The only person going flat out against Disney right now.
John Oliver did a whole segment dedicated to the governor of Florida.
Oh God. Yeah.
But on somewhat related note, North Carolina is, offering Disney World basically, the moon to relocate.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's like, just come here. We'll give you everything you want.
And you know what that would do to North Carolina? Make it profitable.
Their economy would go, oh, yeah. Absolutely. You put like
people
Disney,
would be like
Raleigh
finally
or
something
Concord
to do in North Carolina.
Yeah. Yeah. Shit, you could put Disneyland in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. People would just flock up there to go to Disneyland, Disney World, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
people will go over where those mouse ears are.
Yep. But no, I think that'd be hysterical. But yeah. On that note, we're going to have to start wrapping this up because I do have work tonight. For those of you, ladies and gentlemen, that do not know, in about a month and 10 days,
whoa. You're just gonna throw it out
I've
there?
I've already made the
everybody
public post.
to hear. But
I've
you
already
didn't do
made
it on
the
the
public
WADcast
post
page,
on
did you?
Facebook and Instagram. I have, yeah. Maybe not. Well, either way, now. So maybe not. I thought I did. I thought I had our team on that one. But I know I definitely posted on my Facebook page and on my Instagram, and we have quite a few people that follow the WADcast following me on Facebook and on Instagram. But I more or less did it on Facebook as a way to let my closest friends and family know, so they know like a month and a half in advance that I'm going to be in town. And I saw a few likes from people that follow us on Instagram and follow our Facebook page. So, yeah. But either way, yeah, I'll be in Jacksonville for a short period of time. And, yes, the kid's Uncle Brandon's working a lot of overtime here to make sure he's got as much money as he can to make sure rent's paid, dogs are taken care of, and
you can get a couple of drinky poos.
Yeah. Go visit a few old stomping grounds. So, and then Josh and I are going to church on Sunday.
So what?
Huh?
What?
But I am.
You're taking advantage
here, so
of me
not
not paying attention, and I don't appreciate that.
Well, I always appreciate you, though. I said you are going to church on Sunday.
We have one more thing. We have one more thing.
Okay.
One more thing. You ready?
Okay. Yeah, what's one more thing?
One more thing. May 5th. Next month.
Oh, yes, that's right. Go ahead. Yes.
We are going to have a very special guest joining us on the WADcast. It is none other than, and I made a graphic. Boom. Costume designer Whitney Ann Adams. May 5th. You might know her work from the movies Freaky, Happy Death Day to You, and We Have a Ghost, as well as a bunch more flicks. But Whitney Ann Adams, our first costume designer on the show. We're going to be talking to her about what she does and how she does her thing. So, yeah, Really excited about that.
Oh, absolutely. You'll see her things from as you posted up there, like from things like Freaky, Happy Death Day 2, or to you rather, and most recently we have a Ghost on Netflix, the movie that's made a lot of rounds on social media, and it's getting a lot of it's really done great on Netflix. But
I loved it. Personally,
I really enjoyed it. Like I think even like the costume design that she did for that was really awesome. Because, costume, it's not just clothing, ladies and gentlemen. It is everything. How the character looks. That is the costume. Everything all around. So, she did a great job on that in that movie. But, yeah. Very much looking forward to having her on here and picking her brain. It'll be the first special guest we've had in a long time.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Been a while. So.
Who was the last
But, Whitney, if you are watching... God, I don't remember. But Whitney, if you're by any chance watching these shows to try to get a feel for how we conduct ourselves, and you get to this part of this episode, I'm looking forward to having you on here. I'm very excited to meet you and pick your brain about a few things. So, yeah. That being the case, I do have to get going. Josh is going to put on that.
I'm glad you were here to hear the music.
Okay. You didn't. Let me transition. Oh my God. I'm leaving. He's doing it to me. He's doing it. He knows what this does to me.
Know exactly what it does to him, and that's why I do it. Okay, kids. It's once again that time. Well, what Brandon neglected to mention to you is you can go to WADcomedia.com to find all of the great links to our socials, including Brandon's Instagram, the WADcast Instagram, as well as the Facebook pages for Wadco Media and the WADcast, where we post all of these shows every Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. Ooh, go over there, like those pages, follow the Twitters, follow the Instagrams, hit the switch on the Twitch page. Just YouTube, and there's a Patreon. But like I tell people, look, you can donate to the Patreon. That's fine. I can't guarantee you what the stuff on there would actually happen. So if you're feeling froggy and you want to show some support monetarily, then by all means, go to the merch shop. I would feel better knowing that you're getting something tangible in your hands, something you can hold, touch, feel. And that way, it feels like you're getting something other than this wonderful content for any kind of tip, donation, whatever you want to call it. So head on over to the merch page where we have shirts like this, the WADcast. And God, I hope nobody gets a picture of that. Anyway, so WADcomedy.com. Boom, there, done. What I do every week at this time with this music, specifically this music, is let you know the final message of the night. A few last words, if you will. And it goes a little something like this. The only thing standing between you and your dreams is you. If you want to be a writer, you got to start writing. If you want to be a director, you got to pick up, maybe your phone, start recording some footage, doing something. You got to start doing. Because nothing happens just sitting there doing nothing. Nothing happens while you're waiting for something to happen. You got to actively pursue the thing you want. Because if you don't, you're still going to be sitting there, and the thing you want is just going to get further and further away. So start creating, start making that thing you want to make, and then put it out there or not. Sometimes people just make things for themselves. That's cool too. But the worst piece of art is the one that never gets a chance to exist. There you go. I want to thank you all for joining us for the WADcast, episode number 127, the Writers, Actors, Directors podcast. I am one of your hosts, Josh. Brandon was the guy with me earlier. And a special shout out to ChatGPT for writing our introduction tonight. I have a feeling I'm going to get awfully lazy in the future. So look out for more of that. Thank you all for joining us. It has been it's been a blast. So until next week, when we do 10-2-1 on Wednesday, hopefully Storyteller Power Hour on Tuesday, and of course the WADcast every Friday night. It's been real. Good night.